Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skyliners and Skywatchers. Welcome to the Vash Sky ParkCast. My name is Vash Sky, and, well, I do apologize. A little bit of language there. I've been having audio issues, ever since booting up this computer, so it's very, very strange, very, very weird. Things aren't going in the right places, but hopefully you can hear me, and, we can move past that a little bit right there. Yeah, that's the only time I'm going to hear language out of me. But thank you so much for coming on to the Vash Sky ParkCast. We have so many amazing stories for you. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, when I was putting the show together, I was like, man, we got this story, we got this story, we got this story, we got this story. And it's like, uh-oh, we probably need to go a little bit longer than I was originally anticipating. Usually we have, about an hour. But here, man, I think we do need that hour and a half at least for today. We have some amazing people in the chat right there. MJ, are you there in the background? Let's go ahead and get her on. Who do we have joining us for this amazing show?
Good evening, everyone. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody. We have the one and magnificent Juliet coming in here with the 2 British pounds. Is that correct? I gotta get used to
it's 2 British pounds sterling super chat right there. Thank you so much, Juliet.
Sterling, or do we hold the sterling?
I always say the British pounds sterling in the Jonas fashion because so much of his his call outs, especially when it comes to currency, has been shaped. Or at least shaped my response to it. So we say the British pounds sterling right there. I don't know if it's necessarily relevant. I don't know if we're supposed to say it, but it sounds good. So, and speaking of Juliet, well, she sounds really, really good, modding for us and so forth in that chat right there, welcoming everybody in. It is awesome to see her out there. We also have Ian Cumia, I do believe, out there. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much for coming on in. Trying to make it rain. Orange Grove 55 is also in the chat right here. Thank you so much for coming on in. And we should have a great, fantastic show. I believe Tom F in there as well. So that's pretty cool. Awesome stuff right here. MJ, this is really interesting because Disney actually provided us a first-hand look into Soarin today, which I thought was very, very interesting. This Soarin, what is it, Over America is what they're calling it, I do believe?
Yes, that's the overlay, Soarin Over America. And right. I believe as of today or yesterday, and whoever in the live chat would like to correct me, please feel free to do so. Soarin is now closed to everyone, and it will reopen at believe on the 22nd of May. I got to double check on that. But yeah, Soarin Over America is coming really, really soon.
Right. And then I believe for right now, Disney is playing Soarin Over California at DCA. Right before the overlay, that being Soarin Over America, comes in, I believe, in July or something like that, or at least it'll be there for July 1st, which, by the way, is the
believed sometime in the late part of June. That's what I was told. So for Disneyland,
yes, you're probably looking at the late part of June. What you want is opening by July 4th for obviously the 250th anniversary of the country. And they just provided a first-hand look right here. I think the footage actually looks pretty good from what I saw right here. I'll just go ahead and put it on screen right now. Look at that. The quintessential American experience right there. It absolutely looks fantastic.
Vash.
Yeah.
That's not Soarin Over America overlay.
That's not it. That's not the official footage.
No,
that's not. That's a quintessential American experience right there. Is that not it? Is that they're not doing the Home Depot?
And we need to have the good American folks taking flight over Supercenter, Walmart, and maybe a McDonald's as well.
yeah. All the franchise locations right there. Okay, well, I guess this Home Depot's not gonna be part of it, gang. Sorry, MJ, just come in here and just wreck my dreams here.
Although I do enjoy trips to Home Depot. It's actually one of my favorite places. So,
yeah. Hey, you know what? You can do some amazing stuff right there. Oh man, I gotta give it up to Basalki Films for putting this together right here. It's pretty cool. He put this out a little while ago, but it's always been one of my favorites. I was fortunate enough to find it again. So there you go. Very good stuff right there. No, that's not actually what's going on. This is what's going on right here. From Scott Gooston, Disney shared new details on the updated Soarin Across America, featuring scenes from New England's coastline, New York Harbor, the Grand Canyon, sunlit island shores, the bayous, Great Plains, northern wilderness, and more. Pretty cool stuff. I must say, Mount Rushmore is a very interesting inclusion because, it wasn't all that long ago where I don't even think Disney would even reference that imagery right there, given its controversial past in some circles, right? Boardwalk Times has Mount Rushmore, New England coastline, New York Harbor, Honolulu, Hawaii, which, hey, we're going to go ahead and travel there, actually, via the Vash and Vixen show on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Definitely check that out. And the Grand Canyon. Very, very cool stuff indeed. Boardwalk Times has a little bit more information to share with us via Tom Fitzgerald, creative director and chief storytelling executive at Walt Disney Imagineering on Soarin Across America. Quote, each scene helps to create a portrait of what we believe makes America so special. It's a tapestry of urban wonders, natural beauty, and iconic locations that celebrate the spirit of the nation and its 250th anniversary of the United States. You can see right here, this is a older photo here of showcasing that they are actually filming over these locations. Not just, it's not going to be all digital. However, I do look at those screenshots that we saw earlier right there, and I do kind of wonder whether or not some of those are digital, like the New England Harbor, for example, right there. Didn't look, 100% to me, but whatever. I mean, I think if it looks like, if you have a high enough fidelity where you can't really tell, I think you're okay. I think you get into some really bad situations when it's something like, I don't know, the Taj Mahal, right? For Soarin' over the world, around the world, Soarin' around the world. I can't remember any of these names anymore. Their last version of Soarin'. When it comes to those kind of locations, it looks really evident. It's like, okay, you clearly could not film above the Taj Mahal, rightfully so, but man, this looks bad. Versus California, Soarin' over California, the original incarnation of this historic attraction going back to 2001 with the opening of Disney California Adventure, February of that year. When you look at that and you look at just how the fidelity of that film, right, and the painstaking process that they had to go through in order to film that whole thing was quite remarkable back in the day. I remember stories about guys that were actually hiking or climbing Yosemite right there for that amazing helicopter shot where you actually see it kind of pan through right there. They were up there for hours to try to get that perfect moment. And then they had an issue where you saw the shadow of the helicopter actually in the shot, and they didn't actually want that. And that's where you get that famous paraglider right there, or hang glider, whatever the terminology actually is. And they were able to use a digital asset in order to cover up that shadow in order to preserve the shot, because, well, it is so expensive. But you had that original music right there, and just absolutely super, super cool. I love Soarin', and I think it's a remarkable attraction right there. I know people are like, well, it's maybe not as technically complex or as maybe slick as Star Tours or something like that, or as engaging as Star Tours. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but those kind of scenic rides and rides for the whole entire family that they can actually enjoy together and so forth, I think that's really important for any park. I think it's a natural fit for Epcot, especially the Soarin' Around the World version of that attraction right there. So I think it's actually pretty cool. It is. This is the one thing, folks, I'm most excited for. I must say. Because I do very much enjoy this attraction, and I think it's going to be difficult for Disney to screw this up. Now, the transitions in Soarin' Around the World, and they're probably maintaining those. So, like, I don't know, you're gonna have like a bald eagle fly on your face or whatever, and then it's gonna switch to the next scene. I'm not really that fond of that idea right there. I think that's a Tom Fitzgerald kind of thing that he's doing. I know the original Imagineers, when looking to develop the original Soarin' attraction back in 2001, they were very much like, hey, let's not do transitions, just do hard cuts, and it'll all work out. And I think it did. I think there's something to be said about that. Unfortunately, that's not how they're doing attractions today, which is a little bit unfortunate right here. Also, too, Bruce Broughton will be providing new music for this attraction. Obviously, I believe was it Jerry Goldsmith who actually did the Soarin' music originally? Let me just double check that. I believe he did. And just amazing. Orchestral score right there, one of the best that Disney's actually ever applied to an attraction. It's really cool to see that is making its way back right there. Very cool. Enhanced effects will also debut to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. All of that is very, very good. Absolutely fantastic. I actually like Disney is doing this. And guess what, folks? You too can get your very own Sam Eagle popcorn bucket. So there you go. If you want to really celebrate the 250th, you certainly can do that here. There you go.
It's called a salute to all nations, but mostly America.
Great.
That's right. Fantastic right there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get on to it right here. We have an interesting story here from the New York Post. Now, the New York Post, I don't know, some of their articles, man, especially in the theme park space, oh boy, they give Inside the Magic a run for their money. That's just, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's just not great. This by Nina Jodo over there at the New York Post. New park rumors swirl about a possible third California site after new permits filed in Anaheim. Rumors of a possible third Disney theme park in California are heating up after newly filed permits in Anaheim sparked fresh speculation that the entertainment giant could be laying the groundwork for a major expansion. But Disney sources insist that that's all it is, just rumors. Recent Anaheim permit filings tied to construction, demolition, and infrastructure work near Disneyland's Toy Story parking area. Was it construction, demolition, and infrastructure work? I wonder why they're wording it like that. We'll get to it in just a second. And the proposed Eastern Gateway project have fueled fan theories that Disney could eventually add a third gate alongside Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure, according to permits viewed by SF Gate. However, a Disney source tells the California Post the permit is, quote, tied to minor painting at Toy Story parking lot. It's not a significant milestone relating to Disneyland Forward. So you'll remember, as part of the Disneyland Forward proposal, they were able to rezone areas of basically Disney's land holdings in the Anaheim area. And that included this kind of Toy Story lot, or the old Strawberry Fields, if you know your Disney history. That's located, opposite corner of Disney California Adventure. We'll go to the maps to lay all this out here for folks. But you can see right here what they have provided in the way of conceptual renderings of what this could be. These aren't actually what's coming. It's just, they're just giving people an idea of what could be built there with their mixed use permitting that they were seeking with the passage of Disneyland Forward. You can see right here, Theme Park Wizard had the original permit here, and yes, it is confidential. So, to be honest, we really don't know what exactly this is. And from what I can see on the online, chatter and so forth, this by Theme Park IQ, New York Post and SF need to do better with their theme park reporting. There were no new demolition permits filed. This is a Nothing Burger article, which I believe is absolutely the case. And, the rumors swirl thing, Scott Guston was having a little bit of a laugh with that as well, because I do think this is a Nothing Burger. I don't know if it's necessarily painting, but it would kind of make sense when you look at the layout of what is actually happening in this Anaheim area. So this is the layout of everything right here. You can see in the upper left, you can see Disneyland. Just below that, you can see Disney California Adventure. And then opposite your screen right there, you can also see the Toy Story lot. This is the lot in question. Now, a lot of people have been saying, hey, this can be developed for theme park space, which is true. Disneyland has always actually intended for this to be a theme park at some point. I think there are articles dating back to 2001, 2002, in, I believe, the Orange County Register, suggesting that that Disneyland was intending for this to be a third gate. Now, with the non-success of DCA, they had to put the brakes on that just a little bit. But we do believe that this will be a third gate at some point. Whether it's in the near future, I don't think so. I think this is a 15, 20-year plan at best. Disneyland Forward, I believe, goes anywhere between 30 to 40 years into the future. So that gives you an idea. Now, when you're looking at development of this area, just to give you an idea of what we're actually talking about here, this area right here, these kind of two parking lots that you actually see on your screen right there, those are actually owned by Disney as well. And that specifically is where the new parking structure, I believe it's anywhere between 6,000 to 8,000 spaces, if I remember correctly, will be built there to hopefully replace the parking lot, the Toy Story parking lot that they currently use actively right now in order to house as many guests as they can in the Disneyland Resort proper. So in order to, build this out and actually do demo work and actually do building and so forth, they need to build the parking structure here first. This is also what's hanging up actually the Avatar project in the, the northern east corner of Disney California Adventure in their Hollywood Land area. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's actually going on here. Now, in order to develop this site for the parking structure, well, they're going to have to remove this cast member parking lot. And this permit might actually be tied to, at least I think it is, the relocation of this cast member parking lot and the facilitation of even more cars in the space. That way they can start to get to work on the parking structure. And as soon as the parking structure is done, well, guess what, folks? And then we can actually develop the Avatar site. At least from what I am seeing right here, I think that's the timetable that we're actually working on. But nothing gets built here, nothing gets built here until this is developed. But in order to develop this, you got to develop this as well. So it's kind of this back and forth right here. This is how Disneyland Resort works, folks. It's just a lot of moving chess pieces. But hopefully that clears some things up. MJ, did I make myself clear right there? Do we have any questions regarding any of these stories here? Please go ahead and provide us any information we might require.
Oh, well, I just see a couple of comments, nothing major. Plus, I had a question, actually. You intrigued me. 21 Royal with cheese. Hold the pickles, please. Nothing is going to be built without that parking lot being built first.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Yeah. Parking structure, but yes, we understand the point provided right there. But MJ, you had a question.
I do. I'm curious now. Do you think it's still going to be Avatar? Do you think they might switch that over to Zootopia from, the previous discussions on your show that you had?
Right. That is the big question mark, right? Because this is this could be a very expansive expansion for Disney California Adventure, and it's one that you have to get right. You obviously want your best franchises in the Disney Resort as soon as possible. So when you're evaluating franchises and you're evaluating the performance of Avatar, well, if you look at it, it's kind of on a decline right now. It's not necessarily on the incline. I think Fire and Ash underperformed.
Speaking of which, you got it right. Avatar's Bruce Newhouse. Avatar is 2 decades ago. Just what you said. Just like you just said.
Exactly. Here, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of this since we are having a little bit of fun.
It is like so 2 decades ago.
Yeah, is that kind of right? Yeah. So thank you. I'll be heroic. When you look at the development of this area, obviously you want to go ahead and maximize its potential. Part of that is putting the best franchises forward. Is Avatar the right franchise for this location? I'm actually not so sure, and this is why there's a lot of conversation actually happening in this realm, MJ, to your point, whether or not Avatar will be developed in this area or whether it should be Zootopia. Zootopia is on the incline when you look at that trajectory of that franchise. I think a lot of people are excited to see Zootopia 3 when it eventually is produced and developed and released. But Avatar, I can't say that everybody's just waiting to get in line for Avatar 4. So where does that actually leave us? I mean, my money would be on Zootopia. It's not the best bet to make. Avatar is probably more likely, but I mean, if I was making the calls, it would absolutely be Zootopia. And I think it would mesh better with the more urban areas that this park actually has, in this corner anyway. That being like Buena Vista Street and Marvel, Avengers Campus. I think the transitions between those could be, you wouldn't have to, they wouldn't have to be overly complex in order to facilitate those transitions.
Yeah,
So
the merchandise for that IP specifically moves a lot faster and hotter than Avatar. Just
it's a great
saying.
point. It's a great point right there, MJ, for sure. Oh, man. But this rumors swirling thing, nothing bigger, folks. If it was bigger, trust me, I'd be right here. I'd be telling you, hey, this is a big story. But I don't think it is. So there you go. I just want to go ahead and give you the lay of the land of what actually was going on in this space right here, and keep you guys up to date on all of things Disney. Okay. I've got a little bone to pick, though, with Disney, unfortunately. I haven't talked about this in a while. Folks, you're just going to have to endure the embarrassment with me. The embarrassment of Disneyland's Fantasmic. I'll go ahead and play these clips in a little bit more detail in just a second. But that Disney boy on X actually posted this post right here containing these 4 videos showing the current state of Fantasmic. He posted these May 10th, 2026. And I was examining these, and boy, it is remarkable to see the decline of this historic show. People absolutely love this presentation right here that happens every single night, for the most part, in Rivers of America at Disneyland. People are really excited to see this thing. It certainly is a nighttime activation that keeps people in the park. And guess what? It's directly monetized by Disney. That's the crazy thing about this. Is like, with the dining packages that they sell, I believe in 3 locations. You're talking about as much as, $180,000 to $250,000 every single night that this is performed, assuming that there is 2 performances to be had. So the fact that this is in this state is just, honestly, quite frankly, it's inexcusable. So let's go ahead and see right here what we're actually looking at. Obviously, you can see the crowds right there for this presentation of Fantasmic. This was filmed probably in December of 2025, if I recall correctly right here. And everybody's lining up in order to see this show. I believe the capacity for this is anywhere between 6,000 to 9,000 people along the edge of Rivers of America right there. And Disney has painstakingly transformed this entire area multiple times, actually, in order to facilitate this show. So you can see right here, this is kind of the show and how it's supposed to look. This is with pyro, obviously, which we'll get into a moment, and how they're cutting back on that, perhaps. But you can see right here, this is Mickey. He opens the show. It's absolutely fantastic. You can see him doing the dance, doing the thing. It's really, really, really cool to see him perform this show out there for all the guests to see. All right, so let's see if I can go ahead and skip ahead just a little bit right here. As much as I love Mickey, I want to go ahead and get to the spot where he really shows off his magic right here. You can see him actually go up the stairs and do the thing with the hands right here. It's a pretty cool moment, I must say. Pretty cool. That's how it's supposed to look, and that's why I'm playing this. For those uninitiated or uninformed, or maybe not remembering what this actual show looks like, or maybe perhaps you've never seen the show, this is what it's supposed to look like. Here's another angle right here of this effect. Actually, Clifflix has this right here, which, by the way, if you haven't been to Clifflix's channel, you definitely got to check it out. He has a multi-camera view of this show that he recorded, I believe, in 2023, right before the famous Murphy incident, which we'll get into in a moment here. But he recorded this in 8K, which is pretty cool. But you can see right here, Mickey had a bad time where those effects went off prematurely. And, it could have been maybe a dangerous situation depending on where his hands actually were in that moment. Fortunately, it looked like he was okay, and he was able to proceed with the show. However, recently, you can see right here, no pyro whatsoever for that magic moment. It's just this kind of diminishment that we have been seeing from Disney in a lot of different ways. Again, this is a small thing, but as you'll see throughout this presentation right here, it will add up. Here's another look at another effect featured prominently in the show here. This, again, via Cliff Flicks. You can see they have this magical moment where you have Aladdin and Jasmine actually on that carpet. It's kind of floating up there above Tom Sawyer's Island. And it's this really cool moment that is fantastic. And with the projections, it actually looks like they're actually floating on clouds along with that fog and mist right there. It's very, very cool. Well, can't have that. You just carpet's out, I guess, or out of commission. Maybe. I'm not sure. So we'll just have them up there, just do a little dance for us. That's what we'll do. Yeah, I mean, it's just these little diminishments, right? These little things that kind of add up for this historic presentation. And again, this is directly monetized by the Walt Disney Company. There should be no reason why this is actually happening, and yet we're actually seeing it. You can see this from another angle right here. This is from the side, actually. And because of the cloud projections and so forth that they actually have, for the people on the side or the people looking directly beyond these projections, as you can see right here, it's a little hard to see them when they're on the ground. So it's not really a great experience for anybody else either. You can see right here, this is another interesting thing going on that I've been seeing recently. This is, again, from my 2025 footage there in December. This is the Columbia with the Peter Pan segment that has made its amazing return, which is very, very good. There's supposed to be a guy, though, at this point actually falling in towards the kind of center of the Columbia right there, off one of the masts. That is not actually taking place, at least consistently anyway. You can see right here, though, it's very difficult to see. But this, if you look very, very closely, there is a boat that is actually pushing the Columbia along in this shot. I've seen this more regularly. This used to be very, very rare, but I've seen this more regularly lately in that the Columbia is not able on its own power to actually circumnavigate the waterway, which it needs to in order to facilitate this show. So what do? They just have a little boat behind it and it pushes it along, which obviously is not so great. This is the big one here, folks, though. This is, again, this is Cliff Flicks. This is how this segment is supposed to go. This is the big finale that everybody's been waiting for with the dragon. You can see Maleficent actually is risen up for just a brief period of time in order to make her transition into her dragon form. So that's why they have that lift there in the first place. And then when you actually see the dragon, in this case, this was Murphy. This is pre-April of 2023. That incident obviously involving Murphy, the dragon, which, by the way, is named Murphy because of Murphy's Law. If anything can go wrong, it will. It earned this reputation because it was very late for their Summer Nightastic program. Again, they built that all around the dragon. It didn't, unfortunately, meet the deadline for Summer Nightastic, actually passing the entire promotion. And then shortly after, it finally did make its debut. And it's been problematic. It was problematic ever since. Off and on, effects not working 100%, maybe pyro didn't actually shooting off, but they were able to get it to be somewhat consistent before, obviously, its big incident that occurred, I believe, on April 22nd of 2023. But you can see this dragon in all of its glory on Clifflix's channel in 8K, which is really, really cool because, well, that's the best view you're going to get of it today. Let's see if we can go ahead and see what happened on that fateful day in April of 2023. April 22nd right here. Everything starts out fine. And then, whoa, the head, as you can see right there, that's supposed to blow fire, actually starts on fire. And you can see right there, it is burning away. It's a very famous incident, actually, that occurred because, well, the show actually went dark, I believe, for a little over a month. following this incident right here. So all of those dining packages that they actually sell for this, well, had to be refunded, which is no good, obviously, for Disney's bottom line right there. You can see right there, yes, it's no good. That is not what you want to actually see right there. Again, this is about a $10 million dragon right here. It's pretty sizable for an investment for entertainment, right? Usually when you're allocating budgets and so forth for these parks, you're not usually going to spend this much money on a big effect like this. So it was honestly a miracle that we even got it in the first place. It's one of the reasons why Walt Disney World didn't ever have a Murphy. Still doesn't have a Murphy because, well, it's expensive in order to develop this, install this, and so forth. And obviously, you require downtime, and Walt Disney World necessarily hasn't taken that plunge. This here, Real Rocker 777 has the best view of this incident right here. And oh boy, it just burned, and it burned fast, which is so tragic, so sad to have endured this. And obviously, if you're there with kids and so forth, there's nothing you want to see either. But it burned real quick. Fortunately, from this incident, no cast members were injured. I believe a couple suffered from some minor smoke inhalation, but fortunately everybody recovered fine. And this was kind of a dangerous situation for sure, because there was really no way to put this out. Kind of had to let it burn. Thankfully, it didn't do any additional damage to Tom Sawyer's Island. It did kind of scorch the area around there, and there were some repairs actually done, but everything was relatively minor outside of, obviously losing that $10 million dragon right there. So what are we left with after all this stuff? Well, one, we're left with a smoking husk. This shot right here went viral when Disney was able to see the aftermath right there, and somebody posted a photo of it. So the dragon was removed, and now you have Maleficent just out there for this finale. Again, this was, the dragon incident was 3 years ago, guys, and still we have no dragon in this space. Now, there was a dragon that was supposed to be built in time for the 70th anniversary, but as you know, that 70th anniversary kicked off last year, and we're now in the few remaining months of that promotion. So I'm not sure if that dragon's going to make the deadline. I don't think it is. Disney would have clearly talked about it if it was. So you can see right here, the Maleficent is raised, and she does her thing. Obviously, though, there is no dragon, so she's kind of representing that in a way. And, well, I guess you're just going to have to use your imagination to imagine a dragon there. See what I did there? Pretty proud of myself there. Okay. Well, that's the B mode. Here's C mode. So if Maleficent doesn't actually raise, well, you get her on the ground. And so now she's just out there. Sometimes it's a guy. Out there with the whole get up and the whole wand, and she's racing back and forth between Mickey there on Tom Sawyer's Island, which is no good. Now with Pyro, I guess it's all okay. But here, what you're seeing on screen now that I recorded, this is F mode right here is what I'm calling this. If Maleficent fails to raise, then she just does her routine in like a box where that lift is actually stored, which is what you're actually seeing right here. So we have A mode with the dragon, can't have that. We got B mode with the lift, C mode without the lift, and F mode, she's just stuck in the box. So that's our modes right here, folks, that we're looking at. It's crazy. And then, if any of these things happen where there is not pyro included for the entire show, well, you can imagine the diminishment once again that this show actually receives with that. Yeah, it's not good. And just to clarify, that she was in the box the entire performance right there. So then there you go. You can kind of see what this actually looks like on the sides. Her just kind of going back and forth right there. Not a great view. You know, the dragon, you could see it from, 360 degrees practically. But without the lift there, now even people from the sides don't get a great vantage point either. You can kind of see what that looks like if that lift is actually working right there. Again, not a great replacement for the dragon, but at least there is something. So there you go. But that's not all, folks. If you thought that this show could be diminished any further, well, I think again, this actually extends beyond the finale. At least in when they don't have pyro actually working, then you really start to see the cuts right there, and it unfortunately really diminishes the show and your lasting impression of it, because that finale is, filled with pyro. You can see right here what this is supposed to look like with the Mark Twain actually making its way around the river right there, with the characters all on it. You can see Mickey. He actually makes his appearance up there. I mean, it's not quite where the driver of the boat is supposed to be, for lack of a better term. Sorry, I don't know my nautical terms. That I haven't quite nailed those down right there. But you can kind of see that Mickey's supposed to be up there, and he actually appears magically. So initially he's not there, and then a burst of pyro actually goes off, and then he's there. It's supposed to be this kind of magical moment, right? And it's really, really cool. But what happens if you don't actually have pyro in order to have Mickey appear magically? Well, then you just go with this, which hopefully I included here. Let's see if I can actually get to that spot in this footage. Yeah, you can see that Mickey is actually there already. And then they have like a blinding flash, and then that's supposed to reveal the entire boat. I guess that's the way they're doing it. So again, when you don't have pyro, when you don't have these effects that create these transition points, you can see how diminished the show can be. And again, it's just these little things that add up. It's like, well, that wasn't as magical as I remember it. That wasn't as magical as I remember it. You can't quite put your, finger on it unless you have either a really good memory or you see a previous performance of the show. And then right there, Cliff Flicks has this amazing footage once again of what this finale, finale, climax, okay. I guess Dragon's the climax, this is finale. Okay, whatever. The ending of the show, right? The lasting impression, the kiss goodnight that you actually experience from this show, what this is supposed to look like here with pyro, with effects, with fountains, and so forth. Well, when you don't actually have pyro go off at the show, which unfortunately didn't occur with that Disney Boys performance that he saw on May 10th of this year, well, you can kind of see what this looks like. No pyro, barely fountains. That's the end. And it's just like, it's just really sad to see it in this state. And again, this has been going on pretty much ever since the dragon was taken offline, or when it burned to the ground, more like. It's just been in this kind of state of steady decline. And again, like I was saying at the top of this segment right here, they make anywhere between $180,000 per night on the show, all the way up to $250,000, depending on just how much they actually sell, how many dining packages they sell in total, but also too which one of those dining packages that they sell outright. So, like for example, if you engage in the dining package available, I believe at the Hungry Bear restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, it might be Ranchos del Zocalo, but there's a value option, right? You have the higher options that are available, I believe, at Riverbell Terrace and Blue Bayou, if I'm not mistaken. So if you engage in those higher end options like Blue Bayou, for example, you're going to be paying a lot more to get that reserved seating right at the center of the Rivers of America, which that seating, by the way, I mean, they have marked out, I think, like anywhere between 60 to 80% of that seating area just for dining packages, which, not so great if you just come in there and you don't want to engage in those dining packages, but still want to see their show. Annual pass holders, especially on the outs, but ticket holders have a rough time seeing this as well. So it's just kind of bad for everybody. but they make a lot of money from it. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and do that. So if you're making so much direct revenue off of the show, why is it continuously in this state? Now, even with these barges right here, sometimes you'll get 3 barges like they're supposed to have. Sometimes you'll get 2. And so it's like, okay, 2 barges, no pyro, no dragon. It's all of these things that add up. And it's honestly, frankly, that's why this video is titled this way. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for this to actually take place. It shouldn't be taking place, and yet it is. Sorry, I was looking at over there at the chat right there. Do apologize. This shouldn't be happening. For how much money this show actually brings in per night, there should be no excuse. And yet we see it night after night after night. Again, a lot of this footage right here is over the last 3 years. They still have not provided us the A show that we remember from 1992 onwards. And again, it did get better with the new dragon. I believe it made its debut 2011, 2010, something like that. Why don't we have a dragon now? Why haven't they made announcements for this? They make $250,000 in this spot every single night when this show's played. What's the excuse to have this show in this state, night after night after night? There isn't any. And just really sad. Just really disappointing, because I love this show. I want to see it continue on. I want to see it, every single night if I possibly can. But with this, I'm not sure. Now, Freshbake does have a video suggesting that I think he intimated in that Disney is working on maybe parts of Tom Sawyer's Island, parts of Fantasmic in order to get it to a better position, better point, which I'm hopeful for. Hopefully they are actually doing that. I haven't heard any indication that they're doing that. I haven't heard any rumblings, rumors, or anything like that. I did hear about them working on a dragon, actually in London of all places. But that person was reassigned. So I'm not quite sure where we go from here, if in fact they're not working on a dragon. Sure, they might restore an effect like the carpet, for example, right? They might be working on that. They might be working on the lift for Maleficent. They might be working on, pyrotechnics to be included every single night on a consistent basis. All of those things are good. But you still don't get back to A mode fully without a dragon. At least in my mind. Now, they could go back to the dragon on a stick, I suppose, but why look backward? Why not look forward? And again, with this providing you a direct revenue stream, no excuse to shortcut it in any way. MJ, are you there? Let's go ahead and feature some people on this conversation right now. And so many people have been supporting us. We want to go ahead and highlight them. Please, MJ, take it away.
Absolutely. We have a super chat from High Dragon Star. And they said, all these things that have been removed are all the things that need maintenance or people who know what they are doing.
True.
They lost institutional memory. Yeah.
They did. I mean, yep. What is it? I mean, following the COVID closures, right? We know that at least 60 to 50% of the people working there are now new, right? They're green. The remaining percentage did not actually return to their roles. So there was a lot of institutional memory lost. There's no question about that. That includes maintenance technicians, that includes performers, and everything that kept this as an institution over there at Disneyland since 1992. With that break right there, there could be some issues related to that. So, okay, take the show down, have new training exercises, train everybody up on how the show is actually performed, how the show actually works, etc. If you do have to replace infrastructure with new technologies and so forth in order to get everybody up to speed, go ahead and do that. Again, there's really no reason, even if you have those challenges, for this show to be running in the state if you can actually take it down and perform the necessary maintenance and maybe perhaps training to get this more consistent. So, but good comment, Hawaiian Dragon Star. I fully agree with you. I think that did happen, but there are ways to overcome it too. So thank you.
My apologies. It's Hawaii Dragon Star. So I'm so sorry about that. I hope you do forgive me. We have another super chat 02RR coming in with the $1.99. Power to the $1.99. All the amazing dragons are now over at Epic. And you're not lying.
That's true.
It's magnificent. I've seen some footage lately, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, when I go there, I'm gonna cry. Totally crying.
Yeah, no, the all the dragon that you can possibly get in a theme park right there in one place. That being How to Train Your Dragon over there at Epic Universe. Very, very cool.
We had a little question here. Yeah, before they sent the super chats, they actually asked a question. So they said, don't know how Disney managed to fail at basic night shows and even parades. Epic closed the night with a nice simple fountain show, and everyone loved it or enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's quite strange, the recent performance history of the nighttime entertainment activations from Disney, as they call them internally right there. You look at something like Harmonious. It's like, why was that a thing? Like, why did you have those taco barges out there? Why didn't you move them every single night? Now, they're getting a little bit better with something like, I don't know, the Disney Adventure World's nighttime activation. If you see those, there are platforms in which they actually move every single night and so forth, and they keep that area clear for that lagoon, for sightlines and so forth, which is very, very good. I've seen the show, and I think it incorporates drones and so forth. It's okay, but nothing necessarily on the level of the original Fantasmic in 1992, at least from my vantage point. Or, when you look at World of Color, the scale of that is absolutely unreal. And while it's just mainly fountains and fire in some places, it does certainly give you a lasting impression. And I think if it's the right show, it definitely keeps you there every single night. But even the modern revisions of World of Color have been a little bit lacking. So I don't know what's going on with Disney's entertainment department. I really can't say. I think it may be suffering from the same issues that the entire Experiences division is suffering from. Maybe some of those issues that plagued Disneyland have also been hitting, the entertainment departments or the various entertainment departments from both Imagineering and the parks themselves. Imagineering, obviously, they lost 90%. So, it's just. You can definitely see the diminishment of talent on display for some of these productions. That's for sure.
I have a message from my girl.
Reducing costs is not necessarily one's favorite thing to do in running a company. It is a necessary thing to do often.
Yeah. There you have it, folks.
There you have it. That's what you got to do to run a company effectively. There's no question about that.
I think you were having a little bit of fun earlier, and Bruce Newhouse came in with this, and I had to highlight it. The question is, Vash, when you were interviewed, did Pro and Jonas and Marvin and Lauren make you sing? So
yeah, that's part of the qualification right there. You have to sing in different pitches as well. So sometimes you have to do the imagination.
Oh, well,
but that's really hard to do. I can't really keep that falsetto.
Yeah, that's an extra super chat right there, folks. Yeah.
Radio comes in here. My most recent Fantasmic experience was horrendous, even with buying a dining package. So many insects crawling in the area. Ooh, that's no good. The girl beside me screeched aloud because she thought a rat crawled on her.
No, we're not doing
Yikes.
That's absolutely unacceptable on a Disney property. Good. Oh my goodness. Aren't the cats around in the land when all goes dark? What are the cats
They are
doing?
supposed to be. I will say though, the uptick in insects, I noticed this post-pandemic. Insects have gone crazy. There's no question about that. Now, from what I understand, or from what my experiences have been personally, that has declined since the COVID closures, that's for sure. But perhaps it is still at elevated levels. Thank you, Radio. Very much appreciate that comment right there. Yeah, I mean,
people are having fun in the chat when you sang. Go and Shogi says, "Great, now the neighborhood dogs are howling." So yeah.
Yes, they are. Unfortunately,
we
I
love
do
our
apologize,
audience.
guys.
Great sense of humor.
Try to make it rain. Yeah, but what Epic is charging for 5 rides to break down weather's in the area. Yeah, I know. They're I'm not gonna disagree with you, John. Make it rain. When weather's in the area, boy oh boy, does that park suffer. Needs more attractions, more indoor attractions, more people eaters. No question about it. Yeah, that's what's going on with Fantasmic there, though. Not so great, but man, there is so much happening in the Disney world. Well, we've got to go ahead and move on from our amazing nighttime spectacular, that being the original Fantasmic at Disneyland. All right, let's go ahead and see if I can go ahead and bring this up on the screen right now. Here you go, from AOL.com has this synopsis of the story. Disney World fake hotel trap catches employee red-handed targeting guests. What happened here? Kristen Dillian has the story. Security at Florida's Walt Disney World is no small feat, as the destination typically attracts over 50 million tourists each year. In fact, the Walt Disney World active crime website keeps a live dashboard of crime and safety incidents in the Disney area. Yes, they do. Reporting incidents such as Disney World guests arrested and banned for life in April. We'll get to that one in just a second. And the Disney guest facing a 4-figure fine after a line-cutting incident. Uh-oh, no good. April continued to be a busy law enforcement month for the Vacation Kingdom of the World, when a hotel employee was arrested after Disney's internal security team set a trap to catch the worker stealing from visitors. Uh-oh, that's no good. According to WDW Active Crime, Disney investigators set up an undercover sting at Disney's Art of Animation Resort after concerns were raised about possible theft from hotel rooms. Uh-oh. That's not what you want to see. Let's see here. The operation involved a staged vacant room, hidden surveillance, and a wallet containing cash placed where it could be seen during cleaning. The employee, described in reports as a housekeeper, was arrested on April 24th and charged with theft from a public lodging establishment. Whoa. So they set up a sting in order to catch somebody that they suspected was stealing? Well, there you go. That's kind of how that works right there. My screen right here is going bonkers. Hopefully it doesn't actually affect the show or any of my abilities to interact with the chat right there. I do apologize, guys. Disney World investigators reportedly staged a fake hotel room in order to, well, do this sting. So it went down at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, one of the park's popular value hotels known for its large themed sections, inspired by The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Finding Nemo, and Cars. According to WDW Active Crime, investigators said a vacant hotel room to look like guests were staying there. They installed hidden cameras and planted a wallet containing $300 in cash in plain view. The room was then assigned to the employee as part of their regular cleaning duties. Investigators watched from another room as the employee entered and worked inside the room. The housekeeper was observed moving the wallet while cleaning, and about 20 minutes later, she hid the wallet inside a cleaning cloth and left the room. Deputies entered the room to confirm that the wallet was missing before searching her cart, where the decoy wallet was found inside the dirty laundry. It still contained the $300, and the bills were matched to the same serial numbers as the ones placed in the room for the sting. The employee was arrested and charged with theft from a public lodging establishment, with Disney confirming it planned to prosecute the case. Whoa, that's pretty serious stuff right there. I think Walt Disney World Active Crime actually has some of the highlights from this story. The housekeeper initially moved the wallet while cleaning. Roughly 20 minutes later, she picked it up again. The wallet was then concealed with a cleaning cloth. She exited the room with the wallet hidden in her hand. I see. The cast member was detained in a nearby room where she had continued working. Deputies confirmed wallet still contained the full $300. The serial numbers matched the pre-recorded bills placed in the room. The surveillance footage was collected as evidence. Disney Investigations provided a sworn statement containing the operation and the intent to prosecute. So I guess it's interesting because Disney, depending on how much money was actually in that billfold right there, could have actually been an aggravating circumstance or at least an elevated charge. So that employee is lucky that it was only $300. So pretty big stuff right here. I'll tell you. I think I've really never had an issue with housekeeping, kind of stealing items and so forth. Thankfully, kind of knock on wood, I guess, for that, because obviously it's a big deal. But this resort hotel, which, let's see if I can actually get this on the screen right here. It's kind of art of animation. It really is a venue that caters to families. Spending time on vacation. So, I'd almost look at it as almost an aggravating circumstance in which you actually are stealing from, families who are looking for just slightly elevated from value lodging, right? This isn't necessarily as expensive as, I don't know, like the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian or the Contemporary, but it's still a little bit up there. And could you imagine if, little Timmy comes home from the parks and so forth, and maybe something of, value of his is gone? That would wreck your entire vacation right there. So obviously it's not good. You don't want to see this anywhere at all. But affecting families, that's extra no good in my opinion right there. Definitely got to go ahead and seek those incidents out. I am impressed by the level of specificity and detail they actually applied this thing right there, taking note of the actual dollars themselves, setting up a fake room and getting cameras in there. I mean, it's a pretty elaborate operation for something like this. Glad to see that they were caught, and hopefully they'll be brought to justice. MJ, have you had an experience with this? Have you had an experience with stuff being stolen or so forth? Do you recommend, ways that people could actually mitigate this? What say you?
I'm notorious for staying on property. I enjoy all the resorts, even the value resorts. We've stayed at pretty much all of the All Stars resorts. This is kind of considered an All Star. It's just more like you put it. It's a little bit more elevated because it has a lot of history and memorabilia with the artists of throughout the years of the Walt Disney Company, and you can actually see how they did all the sketches in the lobby when you go check in. It's actually a sight to see, and you are absolutely correct, Vash. So a lot of people, whether you have whether you're middle class, high class, they want to stay at this specific property because they want to be immersed in the original art of animation, just like the hotel is named. Because when you go throughout the property, it's got the classic films, paying homage to The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, and there's a lot to see and do at this specific resort. And you don't really need to go do the parks if you're staying here. It's broad. There's various pools, and I've never had a bad experience with housekeeping at any of the resorts we stayed at on property.
Yeah.
But this one, it's special because there's a lot of beautiful artwork pieces like I said, in the lobby where you could go get food, refreshments, and then they have the gift shop. But if you just take the time and stroll, and you can see how the concept, the way they originally did Ursula, and how she was supposed to really look like, and the Little Mermaid, and all these other characters, Nemo, and they've updated that throughout the years. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel. It's not just a hotel; it's a resort, in my opinion. I mean, you have food, you have pools. There's some people in the comments that are making valid points. It all comes down to, why can't Disney just pay their employees fairly so that they don't have to get to the point where they feel like they have to steal from, like you said, families. The majority of people that do stay here are families, because they have the family suites, like the car suites and the Lion King suite. And then they have the Finding Nemo suite. Those are the 3 different suites you can choose from. And it sleeps up to, I believe, anywhere from 6 to 8 people. So just imagine, a family of 4, a family of 5. So you're stealing from people that have little ones with them the majority of the time, and it's unfortunate to see this go down like that. I really hope they're listening and just pay your employees a fair amount of money so that they don't have to go to this extreme.
Right. Well, I ideally, we were looking for a little bit more pay, especially for employees that actually, show I don't know, enhanced proficiency at their places of employment, right? Giving those special magic moments and really going above and beyond. Unfortunately, though, look, I don't want to put unions down, but unions, very unfortunately, have had this pay structure in which it keeps everybody the same, no matter what you actually do, in order for fairness and so forth. And so, well, I think as the years have gone on, that pay has not necessarily been commensurate with the cost of living and so forth, because the company's like, look, listen, if we're all going to pay you the same, we're going to pay you as little as we can possibly get away with, which is no good. It's a very complicated situation, and that is absolutely for sure. But
this comment here from 21 Royal with Cheese.
Please.
How many complaints did this employee have to have before they set up the sting?
Yeah.
I think from what I read, I think it was just one complaint. I did not see that this specific employee had a history of theft, but I could be absolutely wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this is their first rodeo. Yeah, I mean, from what I read, I just think it's very strange, because you don't hear about this all the time. But then again, they have cut costs and they have reduced housekeeping. They even have it to the point where, it's every other day.
It's every other day, yeah.
Right. It's not every day like it used to be. So that puts a hinder on people, their work, their jobs.
Yeah. And Walt Disney World Act of Crime, the investigation was initiated after Disney identified a pattern of suspected thefts tied to a housekeeping employee. So pattern suggests multiple. I don't know if that actually, was generated in the form of complaints, which is very, very interesting. But obviously they felt that they had to intervene after something like this had happened. How many times that this was suspected to have occurred, not quite sure on that specific number right there. But if you're like concerned, let's say, of like stolen items and so forth, Disney still has to have somebody actually go into the room every single day. And this is obviously following the 2017 Vegas incident, which I don't even know how much I can actually say there. But if you do the math, if you know your history, you know what I'm talking about, right? After that incident, it was very much like, okay, we're going to have to check these rooms every single day. They still have that policy. A lot of hotels have dropped that, but Disney still has that. So, like, you're not always 100% safe, even if mouse skipping doesn't actually go into your room. That being said, though, there's like a safe provided for a lot of these establishments right there. I would encourage you to use that at least for most valued items, no matter where you're actually staying right there. And maybe keep the most expensive stuff with you if you can. But
I agree with that.
No
100%.
good. I like seeing that.
Most of these rooms have safes anyway, so folks, utilize those safes. We have Capture the Magic.
Yes.
Well, we've stayed on property a ton over the years and have never had an issue with housekeeping, but I think this is an issue that likely happens at many hotels out there from time to time, and I agree with him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. I do like how Disney is actually doing something about it, at least in this case right here. Good to see. Again, mouse keepers that are actually with the Walt Disney Company right now, I will say they're kind of lucky to have their jobs, because Disney has been cutting back in this realm. As you said, MJ, they no longer offer mousekeeping services every single night, which what a way to save a buck, I guess.
Even at the Port Orleans French Quarter, those are considered your moderate. Those are also every other day housekeeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could kind of understand with the All-Stars not having daily housekeeping, because they're the All-Stars. It's the least expensive. I get, okay, fine. But once you start doing moderate and the rest of the DVC ones, that's not acceptable in my opinion. I mean, should be daily. But
I don't like
Bruce
it.
Newhouse here, and I really, really appreciate when people highlight these things, because it is true. There are good cast members. There's good housekeepers out there. They said, I've stayed in dozens of Disney hotels and never had anything stolen. Once I left my wallet in the beach club, and the maid who went in as I was leaving ran all the way to the bus stop to give it back. That's amazing. That's Disney magic right there.
That's fantastic. Really, really good to see that happen right there. There's so many great cast members, so many great, housekeepers, mousekeepers, whatever you want to actually call them. There's really, really amazing people out there. There's no question about that. And I would feel relatively safe leaving my belongings in a Disney-owned property or a property that, maybe had some, I don't know, a good reputation. But you just never know what people are actually going to do. There's bad apples everywhere you go. But Heathen Geek Village, though, not a bad apple. In fact, such a great apple. Sharing the love right there via a Vash Sky ParkCast membership. Awesome stuff. And I think it was that service dog actually receiving that membership, becoming a Sky Watcher.
That service dog. Yay.
Absolutely. And guess what? They now have access to our Saturday program, that taking place Saturday at 3 p.m., where this week we're going to Hawaii. Very, very cool. Cannot wait for that show. That's going to be a lot of fun. Going over the history of Polynesia for Disney right there. Should be a blast. Let's go ahead and continue on, though, with the stories with our remaining time. Let's see if we can do that right now. Walt Disney World News today. Guest assaulted cast member over Mirabelle meet and greet, arrested, banned from the parks. Uh-oh, that's no good. Alice Kennedy right here has the story, April 29th, 2026. I do believe we have a New York Post originating article for this as well. Let's go ahead and see. A guest assaulted a cast member while trying to meet Mirabelle. He was arrested and banned from the parks. The man, Diego Rodriguez, attempted to cut in line several times while waiting to meet Mirabelle at Epcot. The incident occurred on April 21st, and a cast member repeatedly told him that he was not allowed to do so. Rodriguez was also with a female guest and a child. According to the New York Post, the child then reportedly tried to run off to meet Mirabelle, but was stopped by the attendant. And the mother also tried to get Mirabelle to sign the autographed book. They were informed that Mirabelle was only taking photos at the time. At this point, the female guest waved the book in Mirabelle's face. Rodriguez allegedly grabbed the arm of an attendant and shook her. He was also verbally assaulted and verbally assaulted the attendant and Mirabelle. Reports say that the male guest laughed at Mirabelle, shouting, "Why can everyone take a picture but us?" Other cast members then stepped in, and police officers were called to the scene. He was arrested and held on battery charges at the Orange County Police Department. Rodriguez was also permanently banned from all Walt Disney World Resort properties, that including the parks and so forth. While Mirabelle does not have a traditional meet and greet at Epcot, she is part of the Celebración Encanto show in the park. Whoa! That is absolutely crazy right there. That's not good. Guys, you see a favorite character there. You see, something actually taking place. Obviously, I know, kids get really excited and so forth and all of that, but you gotta keep it cool. You gotta, keep it cool. Just keep it cool. You can't, obviously bludgeon your way in there. That's no good. Can't do that. You also have to be respectful of those around you, obviously the cast members' time and so forth. So no good to see this. This is also why a lot of people have suspected that Walt Disney World, well, they don't really do walk around characters like Disneyland does. So Disneyland, you can be walking around, various parts of Fantasyland, for example, in the morning hours, or even the entrance, just beyond the turnstiles right there, in front of the train station. Is also a place you can actually see characters walking around. Sometimes you actually see them in parts of Toontown or even Main Street itself. It's very, very cool. It's a really magical experience, and it's awesome. It's something that really sets Disneyland Resort apart. We don't really get that out there at Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World is a little bit different of an animal. Why? Because, well, you have so many people actually visiting from all over the world. And, well, not everybody has the same, courteousness when it comes to characters and walking around. I do believe there was a photo maybe a walk-around character of Mandalorian Grogu back in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney Hollywood Studios, and he was absolutely swarmed in a way that, well, that wasn't the case over at Disneyland. Now, this is not to pit Californians and Floridians and all that. It's just Disneylanders, with so many of them being from within 250 miles of that resort, you know, they've seen characters before, right? They've seen these characters walk around before, and they obviously they've grown up in a resort complex in which those things are regular. Versus Walt Disney World, they're maybe not. And so, you know, maybe you get some overzealous people that do things that they shouldn't be doing, and well, that's where you get this incident from. It's really, really quite interesting. I'll just say to everybody, whether you're international or otherwise, whatever, you see a character right there, just ask the attendant who's usually with them, saying, hey, can I get a photo with them? They say no. Hey, you just got to respect that and you got to move on. If you want to go ahead and indulge in Lightning Lane or whatever, and try to get a photo op with a character that has a line actually attached to them, or is in a facility with a line, or is listed as an attraction and so forth, you can go ahead and do that if characters are your big thing. But you just got to be respectful of those characters that, you know, make their way to performance stages and so forth. It's never good to see people actually banned from the parks and trespassed over these things. Man, just gotta keep our cool. We gotta keep our cool. Keep it cool. All right, I think we have at least one more story here that we can go ahead and showcase. Let's see if we can get to it. Disney Adventure having some problems. We've been noting those problems all the way from, you know, attractions that should have been available on day one, not actually being part of the opening festivities right there. You know, those the coaster there was closed for a long time. That wasn't good. A lot of people put off by the small size of some of those rooms and those accommodations and all of that. A lot of issues that Disney's been contending with this acquired ship of theirs. And I say acquired because they didn't actually build it. They acquired a previous vessel and themed it to a Disney ship. That is the history for the Disney Adventure. Well, problems mounting. Disney abruptly cancels cruise and boots passengers off ship, leaving them stranded. This by Stephanie Nutter over there. I believe this comes originally from the Western Journal. Disney Cruise Line faced a major setback this week after canceling a voyage aboard its newest and largest ship, the Disney Adventure. The cancellation left hundreds of passengers stranded in Singapore after they had already boarded the vessel, reported Inside the Magic. The incident occurred on May 7th at Singapore's Marina Bay Cruise Center, with guests arriving expected to board a 4-night voyage aboard the Disney Adventure itself. Instead, technical problems delayed the ship before the voyage was canceled entirely. Passengers had already completed the boarding process before problems were announced. Many guests had entered their rooms and started their vacations. The engineers worked throughout the day to repair the ship as guests waited on board for updates while the vessel docked. What first appeared to be a short delay soon turned into a much larger problem. Passengers reportedly stayed aboard the ship for more than 24 hours, with the New York Post describing the one passenger saying, "It's midnight now. We've been waiting here since 2 p.m., and they have no update for us. What's even worse is they've shut down all the kitchens, coffee, and why would they do that?" So it wasn't like you were just on board the ship and everything was going swimmingly according to plan, even if you didn't actually, take off from the harbor. A lot of those services were not available to those actually on board. Again, you're talking about a vessel that has, I think, 6,700 rooms. So good luck. Confusion spread among families as updates remained limited. Some travelers said communication from crew members became increasingly unclear. Guests were told to leave the ship and wait for hotel and travel information. For many travelers, the disruption affected more than a vacation. Some guests had flown internationally in Singapore for one of this ship's first sailings. So, if you're booted from that ship, you didn't really plan on hotel lodgings along the port right there. You're stuck in Singapore for at least 4 days without much in the way of information. Disney Cruise Line later released a public statement about the cancellation. The company apologized to passengers and confirmed the mechanical failure. I believe they said, I got indications that this might have been a gas leak or something like that. But that's unverified, at least for now. The company offered passengers full refunds for the canceled sailing, 50% off a future Disney cruise, and reimbursement for onboard purchases and booked amenities. I think Disney Cruise Line blog actually had a copy of this letter. You can see it right here. Refunds in light of the situation, the following will be provided to you automatically: a 100% refund of the cruise fare and any unused services, internet, beverage packages, etc. That's good. But if you use them, there you go. 50% off a future Disney cruise. If in case you want to go ahead and saddle up and try again, you can. I always love that. Complimentary Wi-Fi access. Okay. To assist with your return home, we will also be providing a pre-arranged complimentary hotel room at the JW Marriott Singapore South Beach this evening, and will cover potential associated flight change fees, as well as up to $500 per stateroom for other incidentals. Additional details and instructions for the claim process will be shared in the near future. So it looks like they did take care of people nicely. You know, some cruise lines, they just give you a discount on a future cruise and call it a day. In this case, I think they really took care of people that were trying to board this specific cruise line itinerary right there. Look, I mean, I suppose these things happen, but I don't remember anything actually happening to any of Disney's other cruise liners, just the Adventure. So I don't know. It's too early to say this is cursed, but man, oh man, it's not looking necessarily very, very good. Now, they did get the Adventure working and sailing again, so that is very, very good. It would be horrible to see this taken offline completely, but man, not so great to have your Disney Adventure cruise canceled, and especially after you made it all the way down there, had the boarding process, which can be very involved and so forth. You're, seemingly enjoying your vacation, and you don't know that something has actually taken effect behind the scenes. Man, MJ, we have so many comments in the chat right now. We have people asking questions. What says the audience? Please.
Yes, absolutely. We have O2RR. While every theme park have their fair share of unruly guests, Disney World seems to be getting the worst crowd these days. This must have been a comment that I highlighted probably from the previous segment, but
sure,
they are absolutely correct. Disney World cast members, specifically Magic Kingdom, for some reason, I don't understand why. It's supposed to be the most magical place on earth. Magic Kingdom is the icon of that resort, and it just doesn't deliver when it comes to cast members. I'm not really sure what the issue is, but Disneyland seems to be a little bit more consistent, like you were saying, because I guess what you were saying earlier, Vash, is very true. How people are the majority of the guests that are visiting that specific resort in California have already gotten adjusted to the rules of the park, and they have the behavior, the pattern. They know what to do. They know how to behave. So yeah, I mean, I just I agree with this comment. It's unfortunate, but it's very, very, very true. I did want to bring this up.
Please.
That service dog, an example of importance for vacation insurance. Very good that you brought that up. Normally, yes, I would recommend anyone getting vacation insurance, no matter where you're going in this beautiful green earth. But when it comes to Disney Cruise Line, they compensate immediately, and they give you some perks because of the inconvenience. And they're notorious for that. This is not the first time that they've come through. Like, you will get a full refund and 50% off your next cruise with them, and so forth and so on. They will make it right. So that's the good thing. But yeah.
I have seen Disney in the past take care of people pretty well. And again, it depends on the incident, the severity of it, and so forth, and how much any incident would actually cut into your cruise. It's all depending on those factors for reimbursement and so forth. But they usually take pretty good care of you, which is nice to see. And it looks like they really did take care of the people that were on this particular cruise, which is very, very good. But Hayden Geek Village out there being so supportive for us. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. And looks like C. Brew actually was the beneficiary of that gifted
Yay,
membership
Seabrew.
in Geek Village.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very much appreciate that. Like I said, Vash and Dixon, Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Definitely check us out. Hidden Geek. Thank you. Thank you for that. That is awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Indeed. Also, too, MJ, I do believe we do have an email provided for Vash and Dixon on Saturday's program. Do you want to go ahead and bring that up, please?
Oh, yes. So everybody, please, if you have a membership or if you would like to become a member, you can actually submit a beautiful photo of your pet pal or your emotional support animal, whatever that you wish to send over to Vixen and be featured on Saturday. They do a pet of the week every Saturday. You don't want to miss that.
Yes.
So send in those photos of your best friend. We're talking about the four-legged ones. Could be do birds count, ferrets and whatnot, or just cats and dogs?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, okay, the ferrets,
One and all.
the birds, and all of them.
Ratatouille, send them over too. So there you go.
yeah. I'd be most interested to see if anybody has a Ratatouille or a bird. That might be pretty fun right there. But yeah, you send your pets for a chance to be pet of the week. It's a pretty cool thing that we're actually doing right there. It's VashSky 007@gmail.com for that specific email address. Man, so many great stories. Not enough time though. Even an hour and a half. We are cutting up right in there. Hopefully you enjoyed today's stories though. I had a very fun time putting them together today. Man, it's just a lot of stuff going on right there. I think we were talking about guest behavior, though. Yeah, so it's interesting. Disneyland, you will have incidents. There's no question about that. As every single place does right there, at least as they interact with maybe the rides themselves or maybe the specific characters and so forth. Usually a little bit better behavior, but who knows? You always have those bad apples right there. Going Shogi. Well, go ahead and read this for me, MJ.
Oh yeah, no, sure. I just
have a hard time reading
talking. I pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good comment that he made. When I chatted with a cast member, they said it's because working at Disney World is like working at a company town, and a lot of Orlando folks feel it's their only option. That kind of mentality isn't in Disneyland. Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting. Because Orlando's a melting pot of people, poor, rich, everything, and different nationalities as well. I can say that. So that's a really interesting comment that you brought up, Going Shogi.
I think it would have to be, right? Because I think Walt Disney World employs well over 100,000 people there. I mean, it would be like a big company town. There's no question about that. Yeah, Going Shogi, great.
I see the rise of Disneyland, though, taking precedence over the numbers of Walt Disney World. It's coming up.
I'm telling you.
If they continue going down this route, Walt Disney World's numbers are definitely going to go down in as far as attendance. And they were covering some other stories on other channels about how Florida has the largest number of tourism again, but it's not in Disney World. It's other places, and we think it has a lot to do with the opening of Epic. Epic will be 1 year old this month, I think. Yeah, next week.
I think Port Canaveral as well. Getting a lot of tourists there for the various cruise liners out there, including Disney. And
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think it's a really fascinating situation that's actually occurring right now. There's 45,000 rooms. You got to keep them booked, and I think a lot of that has to do with the amount of value that you actually provide for your vacation and what people are actually paying into, right? If you have parks that necessarily haven't had new attractions, new expansions, and so forth, it's hard to justify maybe staying on property for those attractions and those new and those existing offerings, right? When compared to attractions that are new, parks that are new in the case of Universal. So you're definitely seeing a seismic shift there. Freedom Seeker coming in here. I love to cruise, but I'm not rich enough to do a Disney cruise. Yeah, exactly.
I think well, no, I have good news for Freedom Seeker. If you plan it out right, my friend, they have an amazing payment plan option that you can do like a down payment. For example, let's say you wanted to explore 2027 cruises, anywhere you'd like, Caribbean, Alaska, whatever. There's like a minimum deposit, and then you can just pay every month up until the time it's it's time for you to embark, which I think is fabulous that they do that. And I don't believe it's just Disney Cruise Line that does it. I think Royal Caribbean does it as well. And if you get yourself the right travel agent, they can help and guide you along that way. And I do wish well for you, my friend, and I hope you have a great vacation one day very soon.
Yeah, I've heard Royal Caribbean, especially. I think Marvin has indulged in a Royal Caribbean cruise before, and he was previously a Disney Cruise only guy. Gave it a shot, and he really did enjoy his experience. So some of these value options right there, just because they're a little bit less money, doesn't mean that they have a diminished product. Maybe they emphasize some things over others, but yeah, yes. I mean, cruise line itself is just, man, it's
these past couple of years, the cruise line for all of them are just skyrocketing. Yeah, absolutely,
just insane. And so Disney is certainly an arms race in that regard right there, to have the newest fleets, newest ships and so forth. They're very cool. And maybe why, by the way, if everybody's, going hard in the paint on Disney World, I completely get it. I completely understand that, but it might be why Jeff Valley didn't get the job. Maybe it's why Thomas Moslem did. Very, very cool. And I fully expect that Disneyland has lapped Magic Kingdom as the most attended theme park on Earth. But we're still waiting on those numbers to come out of those various institutions that keep track of attendance. Anyways, I think that just about concludes our show, MJ. You were absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for producing this amazing program here. That being Vash Sky ParkCast. We're going to be, back at it again this Saturday with Vash and Vixen for members only. So if you haven't become a member yet, go ahead. Hit that join button right there. I think $2.99 a month is pretty good. But hey, c'est la vie. It is your determination. As always, I think we do put on a great show, though, and we're going to be going over the history of Polynesia as it relates to Disney. I think it's going to be really, really cool. There's some stuff that people don't actually know about as it relates to all of that. And, you bring up something like the Tahitian Terrace, and it's like, what was that again? And it's like, oh my goodness gracious. So we're going to be going down the realm of history in order to cover all of those things. Should be a lot of fun. Definitely join us Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern for that. Also, too, every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern following That Park Place, we do have our illustrious program here to everybody at Vash Sky ParkCast. And yeah, I think the hour and a half, I think, is a good mix of stories, and including the chat right there, having enough time for everybody to come in. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, I think it's just about time to hand it on off to Marvin and his amazing program over there at the M4 Empire. Let's go ahead and get that dialed up right there. I think that is set. Let me just make sure here. Yes, it is. All right, guys. I think that just about concludes our program here on the Vash Sky ParkCast. Thank you so much for coming on in. Everybody out there, you've been wonderful. We're going to be celebrating 5K pretty soon. I think it's probably going to be Wednesday's program coming up right here next week. And should be a really, really fun one because, man, 5K is a huge, gigantic milestone. The fact that we've hit that so early here on YouTube, that's a testament to you and the support that you have for this channel. So from me to you, thank you so much for making it possible. Well, until we meet again, remember, Skyliners, Skywatchers, the sky is the limit.